So now we want to get the look and feel of accessing our server via SSH, the command line only interface. Now look at this. We always like a recognizable face, and we know where we are when we see this desktop. So let's open up our command line, Control, Alt and T, and let's investigate for services that are listening on the network. And we can do that in Linux using the SS command, show sockets. We can use the option -N, so we show the service number, not the service name. We want the option L for listening and T, those listening on TCP. Now when we look, we've got 53, which is DNS, and 631, which is our print service. But we're not listening on port 22, which would be our SSH server. And that's because it's not installed by default. After all, this is a desktop system and not a server. So we can make sure that our package cache is up to date. So sudo apt update, authenticate to the sudo system. And I think I fluffed the password, so let's try that again. And once we have got our password correct, amazingly, the command then flows into action. So all that's done is update our metadata, the list of packages that are available. But we can now go through and install our SSH server. So sudo apt install -y open SSH-server. It won't take long to install, and it will also start the service, so we don't have to worry about starting the service. I can go back to my SS command, and the quick and easy way to that is !SS, the last command in my history that started SS. So it's run the ss-nlt command, and I can now see that we're listening on all interfaces to port 22. The next step is to identify the IP address that we are connected to the network on. So IP-4 only shows IP version 4 addresses, A shows the addresses, S says to list them or show them. And there we have it, 172.16.247.183. So that's the address that I can connect to from my host system. This is connectable from my host system if we're using VMware. A lot depends on the virtualization that you are using and the default networking. But I'm going to move out now to my host system. For me, this is an iMac system, and we have the command line prompt, and we can use the SSH command. This command is available in Windows 10, Windows 11, as well as Mac and Linux. This is my SSH client, connecting as tux to 172.16.247.183. So the address that we just collected from our Ubuntu system. We can hit the big enter key on this, and we are going to make the connection. But first off, we haven't connected before, so we have to accept the public key being offered by the remote system. We can then authenticate using our password, and of course, then I can just clear my screen as normal with Control and L. If I use the command who am I as 3 separate words, we're able to see then that I'm tux, I'm connected to a pseudo terminal rather than a physical terminal. We can see my connection date and time and my client IP address. So we connected to the .183 address on the network. I'm the .1 host on that network. I can clear the screen again, and we can run any of the commands that we could access through our desktop system, but obviously we don't have access to the desktop system. But running hostnamectl, we can see then that we are then indeed on our Ubuntu 24.04 desktop system. We also know that we can log out using the exit command, but there is also a shortcut, Control and D. that will get you out of a shell and an SSH connection.